Over to the second college football first-round matchup here, Adam. Number 6, Penn State, an 8.5-point home favorite against number 11, aforementioned SMU in terms of the seeding. Total of 54. SMU snuck into the college football playoff, quote-unquote snuck into the CFP ahead of Alabama after falling to Clemson in the ACC championship game. So, two-parter here for you, Adam. The odds indicated that SMU was going to get in over Alabama. The market said, I think, around an 80% implied probability in that regard. Were you surprised at all? And what kind of chance, if anything, do you give the Mustangs to go into Happy Valley and compete with the Nittany Lions?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised they made it in. I don't think you expand a playoff to leave a team like this out that won all of its regular season games in a new conference and did not have a bad loss on its resume. They only lost to BYU at home early season game with a different quarterback. So I think it defeats the purpose of expanding, especially to diversify. You don't expand just to get more SEC teams in or Big Ten teams in. That's going to happen naturally, but you expand to diversify the field. And I think they did that with this SMU team. This SMU team's really good, guys. They won 2 different leagues the last 2 years with largely the same group of players. And that's one thing that Rhett Lashley has made a point of saying is that, hey, we're a veteran team. We know how to win. We're not going to be intimidated, and we'll see if they are. This is a big stage, a new stage for teams like Indiana, and certainly for a team like SMU, is not playing in venues like Beaver Stadium, and certainly not in a situation like the College Football Playoff last season. So how do they handle that environment? It's going to be really interesting to see. But with the veteran experience and a really good coaching staff led by Rhett Lashley, I think they also have an opportunity in this game. I will say this, though. I really liked what I saw from Penn State, guys, in the Big Ten championship game, even in defeat. I think you can say, if you didn't watch that game, oh, here's another big game lost by James Franklin. It's what they do. But if you study that game closely, and I was there for it in Indianapolis, they really pushed Oregon. After a rough start, they matched Oregon score for score, and I didn't think they could do that because I thought they had a clear deficiency at wide receiver versus all the different ways that Oregon could attack them. And it wasn't like Dylan Gabriel played poorly. He played really well in that game. And obviously Tej Johnson was unbelievable. He was the MVP of the game. But Penn State was right there, and they were doing things with beyond just Tyler Warren. So I came away from that saying, okay, this is a team, especially with the pathway that they have in the playoff, to make a run. And I think they have that opportunity to do that with the way that Drew Aller's playing at quarterback, with the running backs performing at a high level, getting a little bit more from the wide receiver position, which again is not where it needs to be. But they got something from those guys in the Big Ten championship, and they're talented on defense. Did they play well against Oregon? No. Did they have some breakdowns? Yes. But Abdul Carter and some of those other guys in the back end, there's a lot of talent for that unit led by Tom Allen. So I have Penn State winning this one by 11. Going a little bit over the total, but certainly could be a little bit tighter than that as well, especially if Penn State turns the ball over.
I love it. Brett, any take for you on the point spread or total here?
Yeah, Adam brings up a really good point about where SMU's played this year. I mean, you look at it, their probably best environment that they played in is Louisville. I went to Louisville earlier this year. I'm not going to badmouth it here on the pod. I had a great time. But look, it's just not. I've also been to Beaver Stadium. They're 2 different places. They also played at Stanford, Duke, UVA, Nevada, a bunch of half-filled, sleepy stadiums. I mean, they're walking into an absolute hornet's nest here, noon or not. We do talk about the weather, though. Temperatures can be in the 20s. How does SMU, a team from Dallas, with a team with players that are mostly from Texas, how do they fare in that? I know they're different teams. I know it's different talent level and opponents, but guys, I can't help but get this 2022 Armed Forces Bowl out of my head when Baylor just got absolutely destroyed in those freezing cold temperatures by Air Force. So, I think SMU might be able to score if the cold isn't debilitating to them, and that's why I'm probably going to wait and see what happens live with this, maybe make a live bet depending on how SMU moves the ball. But yeah, I mean, Penn State pushed Oregon around in the Big Ten championship game up front, and that's impressive because that's the number 1 team in the country we're talking about there. So I think they're going to be able to move SMU as well. I've seen a lot of picking the SMU's the upset specialist this weekend. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I actually think they're the least likely to pull it off. I think Penn State controls this one wire to wire. But again, it's just going to be a live play for me because I want to see how SMU is affected by bitter cold temperatures up there in Happy Valley.
Yeah, I like the weather part of the handicap at least in regards to waiting on this game, whether you're looking to bet it. I mean, maybe to your point there, would you consider a look at the under?
If it wasn't bet like so far up from open, maybe. But I personally made the mistake a couple of weeks ago when talking about the American Championship that it's gonna be pretty cold in West Point, but that shouldn't affect Tulane too much. No, it destroyed them. So I'm expecting something pretty similar for SMU here.
All right, fair enough. And to Adam's point, with Penn State's path in the college football playoff over at Bet365, the Nittany Lions had the fifth shortest odds, priced at 6-1 in the betting market to win the college football playoff.